I'm not minimizing the fact that yes, fuel is up significantly, and based on your company size, it may cost you a couple $100, or it may cost you a couple 100,000, or anything in between, or even more based on your company size. But the reality of it is, I think why so many people are so tore up about fuel cost is because they didn't really, and I don't want to get hate mail over this, you know. So you guys, let me explain it before you start sending me hate mail or blowing me up, telling me I've lost my mind, and you're sending an ambulance to pick me up because my brain's falling out. No, I haven't hit my head this morning. But I think when we look at fuel cost, first of all, let's get it out of the way. I agree, it is significantly up. That's number one. Okay. But number two is, within your pricing, here's what I want everybody to think about. Within your pricing, and I'm just going to make a number up, okay, because it doesn't matter what the number is. It doesn't matter what the number is. I appreciate I hear you. I appreciate that text, my friend. Do you know, let's just say you're charging $50. I'm just going to make a number up, okay? I'm not saying 50 is the right number or wrong number. Let's just say you're charging $50 to mow a lawn, okay? Well, if you're charging $50 to mow that lawn, how much of that $50 have you allocated to fuel? That's the question. How much of that $50 before fuel went to $4 a gallon or $5 a gallon or $12 a gallon, wherever it ends up going, it'll stop somewhere, right? I mean, it's got to stop somewhere. Okay. But how much of that cost right now of what you're charging to mow a lawn or spray a lawn or, whatever it is to take that, get in that truck and go install a landscape, how much of that hourly charge have you actually calculated the fuel cost? Or have you just said, okay, it's $40 or $30 or $50 or $100 an hour? Because if you've already allocated a certain percentage of cost to fuel, it's not as crazy as you think when you look at fuel cost as a single line item. Now, I realize it's went up a lot, but I mean, we looked at just one route on a truck Friday that went out and was treating yards. Okay? The difference in fuel cost, not in our situation, but where somebody, and I'll explain that whole mindset here in just a second. I'm not trying to beat around the bush. But let's just get to our situation, because that's what we figured it out, wasn't it, Daniel, Friday? Yeah. In our situation, we figured that truck ran a route Friday of, I think it was 51 miles or 50 some miles. So let's just say that truck's getting 7 or 8 miles to the gallon. So we figured, okay, this is how many gallons of fuel we had. When we looked at what we were already charging for fuel cost, if it were at the old rate, for an example, okay, whatever that old rate may be, versus the new rate, it was like 24 cents, 25 cents in application difference. Wasn't that where we were at with that? Something like that. It wasn't significant. So my point of sharing that whole story with you is this. Whatever your minimum is, okay, just ask yourself, the minimum that you're charging now on fuel, before you get too tore up about fuel, and I mean, I'm tore up about fuel too, because I know that, hey, we're going to need to make some changes as well, okay? But do you know how much allocation of your cost to spray a lawn or to mow a lawn or to get your landscape crew to sit in front of ABC Company to get that truck out there, how much of that cost is actual fuel? Or is it just a number that you've made up for years? When I say made up, I say that with all due respect. Is it just a number that said, hey, I'm charging $35 to mow a lawn, or I'm charging $40 to treat a lawn, or $80 to treat a lawn, or whatever number it is you're using? It doesn't matter. But within that number, do you know how much allocation there has been to fuel? And I know I've said that multiple times already this morning, but I think it's important that if you haven't, that is certainly something you need to do. You need to figure it out. You need to figure out of your minimum cost, how much of that cost is fuel allocation? Because that's just as important. Right now we think it's more important, and the only reason we think it's more important is because it's the unknown. It's the fear of the unknown, you know. It's that fear of unknown. Because, hey, man, I don't know what it was to start with. Now I just know it's going a lot higher. Man, I need to raise my fuel's doubled in price, let's say, from where we were at last year already. Man, so I got to raise my price 25-30% to compensate for it. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's not that great of an increase. I got a text here and it says, I think the problem for a lot of people is route density. Route density can certainly be part of it. You know, route density can certainly be a part of the problem, and we're going to talk about that side of it. How we can get a tighter route. You know, we talk about it in picking a lane, right? But before we get into route density, let's talk about understanding fuel cost as part of the overall cost to treat a lawn or mow a lawn, or to go install landscape lights, or to go do a landscape job, or, you know, send a truck and a trailer out to do some aeration or overseeding, or fill in a blank on what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you're doing. But what percentage of that cost have you allocated to fuel? Because I know, like us, when we sat down and did our cost, you know, we were calculating cost at like $4.75 a gallon. All right. So now, what does that mean? All right. Well, what that means is within our minimum cost, and then anything above our minimum, we're recovering fuel. And I'm not saying you got to use $4.75, because we're probably going to have to bump that to $6. We're probably going to take a bump to $5.75 or $6 here, you know, just to stay ahead of the curve on it. Okay. But my point's this: you just don't want to go on what the price of fuel is right now today, number one. Most importantly, you've got to calculate what is the fuel cost. That's the same as your repairs, your maintenance, your direct cost, your financing cost, your insurance cost. Now, fuel is a moving target. I get it. But that's why I said what we normally recommend, and for you guys that have sat in on our seminars in the past or our webinars that we've done, when we talk about cost recovery, we always talk about estimating those fuel costs at a number greater than what you think it's really going to be. And what you're doing as you're providing service at that rate, you're actually recovering more income or cash flow or profit based on a higher number of that fuel than what the actual market really is at that point. So you don't have to worry about it on a daily. You're not worrying about it on a daily basis. It's like up to now, doing the snow that we've done, the lawn applications that we've done, some of the cleanup work we've already went out and done up to this point. You know, we've been recovering fuel cost of $4.75 a gallon. So until we hit $4.75 a gallon and above for a certain length of time, we're not going to cry about it and worry about it each and every day. And if you want to take that stress off of your plate, do the same thing.